G'day. Okay, this build is all about this trapezoidal dining table frame. It's made out of some reclaimed hardwood and I think it's spotted gum. Made some errors along the way, but they were all about learning. I'll get to that. Bear with me. Lots of nails, so fans going on because it's 4,000 degrees in the shed. Okay, let's get into it. So, cannot believe that all this timber was going to be thrown in the bin. I've got about 20 lengths of this big stuff and it cleans up absolutely beautifully. So there's definitely a few types of timber in here, so I did have to sort them out to get all this nice browny stuff and sort of keep the red stuff to the side. Alrighty, so I'm cutting myself an angle on all the pieces here. Don't know what that angle is. I basically just laid out what I thought looks nice. I set myself up a little bit of a template and then I went ahead and just copied all that same angle, took it over to the saw, cut all my pieces to size to start to get the bits and pieces I need for this trapezoid. Alrighty, the old stop block. Absolutely important for this one. Getting all those exactly the same size was pretty important, just like that. Anyway, all right, moving on. So the idea on this one was to show you a few ways of cutting out the waste. So the first one being just use a table saw like this, clean it up with a chisel. Pretty straightforward. Just bear with me. Okay, so second method was going to be the old table saw on the sled and then take it over to the bandsaw. So I'm just cutting the shoulder on these joints, using the clamp to hold it down because just that little bit of angle, it got a little bit slippery. But massive spoiler alert, I actually end up chopping out all the waste with the table saw. So stand by for what happened with the bandsaw. Okay, so I've just used a table saw to remove all the waste. As you can see, that's pretty much what you're left with. Clean up with a chisel and some files just to get the best gluing surface as possible after using the table saw. Now the plan was to actually use my bandsaw to cut out the waste in one hit. Now I saw a really cool video from Robin Lewis, how he sets it up to cut these angles. You basically have a stop block, you push your piece in, cut it, and then you can just raise it to the line. So this first line is your stop point on the underside, then you merely would just raise it. As you can see here, this timber is pretty hard and I think my blade is obviously about to go, as it was starting to cook up a storm, but it was a nice smooth, ready to go. So I'll buy a new blade and maybe next time. Do you know why I like this file? It's because it's called a bastard. I don't even know where this file came from, it's probably for metal, but it does just smooth it off that little bit more to get that nice gluing surface. That's pretty good, pretty flat. You are going to get some lines, you're not going to get them all out. Having a flat grind, what are they called? A flat grind kerf? Kuffy, help me out, buddy. So, a big thing I got out of watching all Kuffy's videos on his Aussie Ocker workbench was the template. Now this thing is paying for itself in time. So I know that I've got this beautiful center line. I can take a marking for that one, get the other piece that I know has to match up for this half lap, take a marking for that, and I know that I've got dead center for both of them. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Mr. Kuffy. Alrighty, time to get out the don't balls this up pen. So, got me two trapezoids going down that way. I need to cut the top out of one, turn him over, and the bottom out of the other. And they're just a couple more dumbass marks for me. What's half of 75 millimeters? I'll get a calculator. 37.5. That was the answer. So I've marked that out. Now I've got this fancy marking knife. This is where I should be using that. But at least I'm using a normal pencil now. What I also did, got a marking gauge, and I can check that I've actually got the middle, that drops into that little knife line. Then I can go and set my table saw up for the big cut. Okay, just about to do the glue up, and again, this template is coming in really handy. So I've got my first piece, which is going to be the full trapezoid. I've got all my lines, so I know that there's nothing to check. It's all good to go. The second piece, I'm leaving this top section off. Now, there's two reasons for that. One, I just want to try a different style of joinery for the first time up top. No one's going to see it, no big deal. The other reason is it's a chance for me to make sure that these two crosses actually line up, because once it's all glued together, there's going to be no give. So it's a little bit of a get out of jail card for me on this one, which I've done this before and it works a treat. But anyway, let's glue. Still works. Whoa, that was a dodgy slide, that one. But I got here just in time. There's no glue on that one. Just got to support it so I don't break it. Alrighty, sticker sponsor shout out is Toby from Toby Fire and Steel. He's a knife maker. He has a YouTube and a podcast. Go and check him out. He's a good bloke. Remember that toy as a kid where you used to bash the thing in with the mallet? I can't believe that I finally got to use that skill. Paying off. Paid off big time. Thanks, Mum and Dad. Okay, just a quick bonus tip. Now this dowel is meant to be 19mm. I've only got an 18mm speed bore. When you actually measure them, this is a little bit over 18 and that's a little bit under 19. So these went in pretty well. If they are a little bit fatter, you may want to give it a bit of a sand, just like that. Otherwise you may end up splitting your wood down here. Anyway, FIXIT finger, he's got that down pat. I'll chuck a little video up top if I can. Don't know if I can do it anymore, but anyway.
Look at all that lovely sawdust coming off. I'm all masked up. It's perfectly safe. What's possibly wrong with filming yourself?
Get down low. Okay, so again, I only made one full trapezoid. I'm now going to put these two side pieces on. So it was a little bit of, I didn't know if I could get them exactly right. Probably could have, but I want to try this joinery up top here. So I don't have a perfect flat surface. So I'm basically going to take this out onto the patio. I'm going to use all my clamps and get this joint glued up into position, and to make sure I get these distances perfectly lined up and that both legs are square to the ground. Alrighty, so just quickly, check square, check square, check square, check square, check square, and check square. On a trapezoid, it's all good. Okay, so feeling pretty good at this stage. I'm using the table saw to cut the shoulder. I've got a nice little stop block there. You might recognise that one. Getting get all those good to go. And then I'm going to bust out the Japanese handsaw because that's important. Going to do a bit of hand joinery. Alright, I haven't cut a dovetail since high school, so go easy on me. I don't know, there's probably 1,000 things I'm doing wrong here, but it's about learning. Okay, still got the Japanese handsaw. It's all going well. A couple of dodgy cuts, but you know, I'm a little bit out of practice. Got the chisel going. It's a very blunt chisel, so really reality's starting to set in here, but I'm going to continue. Right, so time to follow my sword. I'm giving up on my two-piece action. So what I've managed to do is, because this half lap down the bottom wasn't super tight, it actually just broke the glue joint a little bit. So when I set up this side for the little dovetail action, it was all good. But this piece wasn't perpendicular to the ground. So I threw out the other side completely, and I don't want to destroy the whole thing. So anyway, I have learned a lot, I tell you. But, so I'll just make a cross piece, do my best to line up the top half lap with these other two joints, and hopefully recover it. So, I've now got to cut this half lap out with a handsaw. Again, if I just had trusted myself a little bit more and done it this way the first time, I wouldn't have learnt anything. So, it's all good. Let's do this. Right, this is shit. Seriously, that was way easier. Anyway, gotta try things. Alright, there is a link for this saw down below. Now this link is James's from FIXIT Fingers link, so he gets a little kickback if you buy the saw, so that's pretty cool. Now, last step, I'm just going to throw a little bevel on the vertical edges of this just to soften it up. It will tie in with the top. It's going to get a bit of a bevel around the big edge. So this is the routine I'm going with. This little router, it's a little beauty. Quick sand up to 240 and it is time to finish. Now, it still blows me away that you can get some pretty dodgy old timber and it scrubs up to look like this. So, pretty happy. Check that out. Dig it. Alrighty, that's it. This is the frame all done. Next video is going to be all about the dining table top. So really appreciate everyone that has actually subscribed to the channel. That is really helping it grow. But what that's doing is it's helping it push it to help find new people. And again, that is really helping the support of this channel. So much appreciated, and you'll be notified when that big dining table top is ready to go. All right, thank you very much.